Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. And in this video, we're going to compare FreeBSD 13.1 to the newest release of GhostBSD. Right now, I'm in FreeBSD, and this is where we're going to start. First thing you're going to find out of the differences in between the two is FreeBSD does not install a desktop environment for you. GhostBSD, on the other hand, has the option of, there's more than three, I believe. I think there's two supported and community official and some community supported. So this is FreeBSD here, their homepage. Their latest supported release is 13.1. If you click on that, you'll see the release notes and release announcements. Here you have, for a complete list and known problems, you can click on these links. If you click on the first one, Rail Notes, you can read a lot more about the new 13.1. Some of the things that I've noticed is, for instance, Firefox would not install as Firefox. It was Firefox ESR. If we go up here, you'll see this is ESR, the extended support release. Firefox by itself was not available in the newest release. But I mean, if you was upgrading, it was there, it would obviously work. Some bootloader changes they made. It's more apt to boot into a UEFI mode, or to help it boot into EFI. That was something I wanted to point out here. Some kernel updates, I believe. Kernel output corruption. So some additions to the kernel super pages enabled on QEMU or KMU, QEMU. And that second link here, that's going to open up the errata data, and you can read through here, and 2022 would be the ones you'd be looking for. And you go all the way down to the bottom, open issues, none. Late breaking news, none. And that's sort of the reason why I waited to upgrade my FreeBSD 13 to 13.1. Not this computer, but another computer. Next thing, firewalls. You may want a firewall. In my checklist, I include, does it have a firewall included or not? And according to this, you do have a firewall installed by default in the base system of FreeBSD. It'll be up to you to enable that and configure it. And I'll make sure this link, this is again in the handbook, but this is chapter 31, Firewalls. Same handbook we looked at in upgrading. And it'll tell you how to actually get you a firewall running. GUFW or UFW is not going to be available. So let me minimize that here. I got it in Virtualbox. I'm going to go ahead and start it up. And for the reason I just want to show you, FreeBSD does not come with a desktop. When you first installed FreeBSD, this is what you're going to see. And it'll be up to you to install your desktop of choice and configure that. While that's booting up, here's my notes. When I was ready for my desktop, I installed Xorg, Xfce, Xfce4 goodies, the light DM stuff, DSP mixer, which you see running right here, network manager, which you see right here, and webcam D and DRM Kmod. Then go back to here real quick. This is all you're going to get. So it'll be completely up to you what you do with it. It's functional right now, but only as a terminal applications. And let's see, did I install anything? Yep, I did. This is FreeBSD 13.1. It's been up 53 seconds. Nothing really is on it, so it's going to be completely up to you. Get my mouse back. Let's look at, once you get those programs installed, you'll have to make some modifications here. We're going to enable some services. We'll look at my Xfce4.conf file here, and I've added AUD or dbus, how D, light DM, webcam D, KLD list, that's for your video driver, VBoxNet. I had to add that in there with Virtualbox so it would work. And this, I believe, was part of Virtualbox as well. So let me get out of here. So once you enable your services, then you're not through. You'll still have to edit or create and edit this file right here, .xinitrc. Exec, start Xfce4, save that and exit. Then you need to go into your bootloader.conf, and at the top, very top, make room and add this line right here, kern.vty equals vt. Qs, this is for my webcam. Let's just open mine up again. And you'll see at the bottom, loader logo is beastie, VBox driver load yes, auto boot delay, I've cut it down to 5 seconds. Qs load is for the webcam. Then at that point, you can reboot, and you should be able to reboot into your light DM and then sign into Xfce. So only then are you really through. And at that point, then you have a lot of setup to do. For instance, Virtualbox. I closed that out too soon. Here. So in order to get Virtualbox up and running, you can install it through either the command line or Octo package. I think here next, yep, installing Oracle Virtualbox. The packages you'll need is Virtualbox-OSE, the additions, and OSE Kmod for the kernel. And FreeBSD offers this tool right here, VBox tool. You don't need to install it, but it's nice to have. Then once you get those installed, you'll need to load that into the kernel, so it'll start for you. KLD load VBox DRV. Make sure it's gonna, in my bootloader.conf, you saw where I had this line right here. Also had this line right here in my Xfce4.conf file. And then I had to add myself to the VBox users. And then I had to change the owner and then chmod it, make it mine. Or I'm sorry, we had to change the owner, and then we had to modify it to get that going. And then to make it permanent, we had to go in at devfs.conf and add these lines right here. And then you could start your Virtualbox. But in order to get USB to working and your CD-ROM drive or DVD-ROM drive, this, that, and the other, you're still not through. So you still have to go into your Xfce.conf. This was where I said I thought that was Virtualbox, I believe, and that's what it was. How D was enabled. And then you're ready to start your Virtualbox. So as you can see, it's quite a process to even get FreeBSD up, and then to get it running and set up the way you want it. Here I've got all my programs that I would use on a daily basis, what I call my preferred set. Featherpad, OBS Studio running now, Kdenlive, let's open that up, make sure it works. Audacity is my next one, let's open that up, see if it'll allow us to do all that. I think it will. And we're running Audacity alpha test version, so the very latest. Where'd you go? Right there. Let's close that out. I got a video file on here. Let's import it, make sure it works. I think it's that one. I'll find out. Importing. So this is a video file. There we go. Here, that's going to open up. Audio works. That's very good. I don't want to save that. Let's go and open up that same file in Kdenlive. Make sure we got a good wave form, and we do. Your volume works, and it does. Not going to save it. So, Kdenlive and Audacity work just like they're supposed to. Let's see, I can close that out. Get that off of the load here. So I've got Krita, simple screen recorder, system monitor, and a graphical package manager called Octo Package. It does not come by default. You have to actually install that. When I put in this thumb drive in a second here, you'll see all the packages that I've installed, whether they're listed here or not. Anyway, I got cheese and a color selector, which I kind of like. I got my color for my clock out of that. So here we're running 3.3 gigs. I've got Firefox all open. But that drops down, I already did. And let's see, what else? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. We've got 3 thumb drives, and there are different formats of each one. So the first one we're going to start with is a NTFS. And it recognized it. Let's mount it. Oh, failed to mount because of the fuse. So if you're going to mount NTFS, you're going to need to do some configuring. Yep, I can just unplug that. All right, the next one I got formatted to an Xfce4, which is basically a Linux file system. It recognized that. Let's mount it. Uh-oh. Give it a second. It might mount it itself. Okay. So it did not recognize that. So even an Ext4, if you have a Linux thumb drive that you formatted to Ext4, it's not going to recognize it. Won't. Well, it will. It'll mount it, but you have to do some configurations. So I should be able to just pull that out. Now this one here is FAT32. All systems will recognize FAT32, I believe. Let's see if I can go ahead and mount that. We'll see it change colors if it mounts. Yeah, I think that's it. Open, yep. All right, so here's my notes. FreeBSD. With FreeBSD, right here, this is the one we want to open. All right, so FreeBSD 13.1 versus GhostBSD 22.06.04, and they're both running the Xfce desktop. So when I first booted in, fresh boot, 610 megabytes. Fresh boot, 610 megabytes. Okay. Uname. Oh. FreeBSD 13. No surprise. Wow, all that revision stuff is new to me. I don't remember seeing that. Okay. Audio defaults. Now, in FreeBSD, Xfce is installed. So capital A will see whatever our audio is. Server is OSS. It's running. It's using Pulse Audio. It's running. It's picking up my audio device. So Xfce works, and we're using Pulse Audio and OSS sound servers. Copy that. Maybe. There we go. All right. Save that. Package management. FreeBSD uses PKG, so you can install. You can install. You can search. And you can delete to get rid of packages. It does not come with a graphical package manager, but you can use PKG, and you can install by ports using SRC sources. And it does have a graphical package manager available. I'll open that up real quick. Octo package, and there it is. Octo package about is QT5152. Good thing about this one that it offers to create a boot environment backup, which I noticed the other one, GhostBSD, does too now, this time. That's package management, mounting various drives. FAT32 succeeded, failed on NTFS and .ext4. All right, save that. Audacity, it did work, and Kdenlive. All worked, just like they're supposed to. Game controller, I'm not going to bother plugging it in. I could, and you would see that it would not be recognized. It does have some configuration if you want to do it. If you want to look up how to do this, it is available. I did look it up and see if it was, but on this hard drive, I'm not going to do all that. Default shell, SH, that's a shell I selected during the installation. You'll have other options as well. All right, so let's see. Now, we do have ClamAV that is available in FreeBSD and GhostBSD. ClamAV being an antivirus. I don't know how much it'll do you. Let's go sudo pkg install Lyins. Password. And we're going to say yes. And there we go. So let me clear that. Now we're going to say sudo Lyins audit system. Yep, there we go. Let's see what score we get. FreeBSD is supposed to be very secure, or supposed to be more secure than the typical Linux distribution. Supposed to be. I don't know. Let's find out. All right, we scored a 55, and that is not very good. I was hoping at least for a 60. Or an index 55. I mean, that's not terrible, but as a rule, you want something that's close to 60. Now, I can tell you this as well. This is not the only security option that's available, and probably not the only one you should just look at. It's a good starting spot. I will say this too, that FreeBSD by itself, if I opened this up in the Virtualbox and ran the same test, I would probably get a higher score, because a lot of that bad scoring had to do with the software that's installed by me. So, let's save this. Let's see, I've run past the 15 minutes that I wanted to go. So this is FreeBSD 13.1. One thing I need to do right quick here before I close out of everything. Let's see, memory 902 megs. That's not bad. Let me write that down. I forgot to do that. At the top. Here we go. Let me do it again. Top. Just to make sure, 902 megs. That's not too bad after all the stuff I've been running. 902 megabyte. Save that. Before I shut down, we'll eject this. Close out of that. Close out of the iClock. Say thanks for watching. I'll be back, but I'll be back in GhostBSD. Oh, before I shut that off, there was one thing I left out that I wanted to put in there. Home URL version FreeBSD 13.1. Home URL, bug reports. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. So I'm going to shut this down. I'll come back in GhostBSD. Okay, so I'm back with part 2, I guess you could say, comparing FreeBSD 13 to this GhostBSD. This is their homepage right here, ghostbsd.org. The latest release is 22.607. Installing software, it gives you complete instructions on how to install software and how to configure some of it. Applications, they have a really nice website here or link that you can search for applications, or you can look through whatever they support, which I found pretty nice. Here's one completely just for games that you can, this page is in maintenance, right? That you can look up all your games, or not all, but you can look at whatever the list of the games on GhostBSD is. When I first, let's see, do I have a picture of that? GhostBSD updates available. When I first booted up to this system, I could have swore I saved that. I guess I didn't. Anyway, I got an error that said that the updates couldn't complete, wouldn't install. I did a little investigation on it, and I found this right here that they knew this. Somebody knows it on version 22.6.7. It says there's a problem with upgrading the system config printer. So it had something to do with the printer. I think I got this on notes here. Oh, close that out. Notes here. This is the web link or the address. It says deleting the system config printer and reinstalling it before starting the upgrade. Reinstalling upgrade fails, but the error message in the update station is not shown due to a bug. So I run this command, pkg delete system config printer, and then I run pkg install system config printer again, and then I ran the system upgrade, and it'll tell you down here. Look at that. Yep, there's already an update available. Close that out. So after I did those things, it updated just like it was supposed to. Now, I will tell you, it takes a while. The first one took probably 40 minutes to download and extract and install, leading to a reboot. But since then, it's been pretty quick, pretty snappy or quick whenever I would install something. Now, I said that when I was doing the FreeBSD that I would show you all the software that I've installed on both FreeBSD and GhostBSDs. So under FreeBSD, here's a complete list that software that I installed, all the way from Xorg to Chromium. Now, under FreeBSD, like I said, Firefox by itself was not available. It was ESR is. Let's see. Firefox and Chromium were both available in GhostBSD. Under Internet, here is Chromium and Firefox and QBitTorrent. So let's look at my favorites real quick. I have Featherpad. This is identical to what I had set up on FreeBSD machine. With the exception, I think I got the software station. No, I had it in the other one. It's called Octo Package though. Let's open up the monitor. system monitor. Right now with OBS going and the Firefox running, it's using 2.3 gigs. So the resource usage here is actually very, very good. Granted, this is Xfce desktop, and you would expect it to run lower in the resources department, and it does. I did install Xfce4 Pulse Audio plugin that came in with the extras or goodies. I'm assuming it wasn't here to start with. I had to actually install Xfce goodies right here in order to get that, or I could have just installed the one, but I installed all of that, and I put it in the systems tray, or sys tray down here, and it wouldn't work. Had no control whatsoever. I installed DSP Mixer, and I got beautiful control. So that works great. Here's the list of all the stuff I've installed on GhostBSD, and if you do a comparison, you'll find that it's extremely similar, with the exception of the Xorg stuff, X11 stuff. I did change my default. It always defaults to no when you try to download a program, and I changed that. The software that's available in FreeBSD called Xfce is not available in GhostBSD. At least it's not through the PKG install. Now, it could be through ports or something of that nature, but it's not installed. I do have PWC View installed. I put the equalizer in the DSP mixer, and that works. That's GhostBSD. FreeBSD, I didn't have to, or GhostBSD, I did not have to set up anything. Webcam, Virtualbox, I installed Virtualbox, and I did not have to I had to add myself to VBox users group, but I did not have to do anything else. I just was able to install it, added myself as a VBox user, and actually during the command when it got finished, you all I had to do was copy and paste that command, and it RCCTL'd it right into my rc.com. So that was very nice. So let's see, and I'll make sure this gets in all these get in the link description below. Firewall. Now, Firewall, it does come with Firewall, but it was written for FreeBSD, and it still uses a firewall. It's not enabled. Let's see. Go away, however. You have to set a rule set so you can get a firewall. It is available. And from what I can see, it's not as difficult to actually install as it is in FreeBSD. You see, this is just one page of notes. So, all right, so let me just close out of there. This is the GhostBSD. And let's go bring up a terminal. Uname -A shows the same thing here that it did in FreeBSD. It's based on FreeBSD. See that? 13.1. Same. Let's do the Xfce release. Here we get code name, GhostBSD, version 22.6.7. So I've got a new one since I've installed this the other day. You see right here in my start menu where I got 22.6.4. This is 22.6.07. So it's already updated a little. So let me just copy this. Right here. All right, let's save that. By the way, this is on a FAT32 USB stick, and I have the other ones here ready. We're going to try those when I get that far. Once again, Xfce is not available in GhostBSD. So if you depend on Xfce for whatever reason, you're not going to get it. At least not through the packets. You might be able to find it through sources or build it from source. I'm not sure. It wasn't available as a package, so I didn't mess with it. GhostBSD uses PKG. The PKG install, search, remove, or delete, I believe. It does come with a GUI application called the Software Station that they use, and they actually tell you, I wish I'd have pointed that out, they actually tell you on their website, do not upgrade or update through the terminal. Use this software station. And so that's what I've done. But I just showed you here where it shows you an icon in the sys tray when there is an update available. Let's see if that'll just let me close that out. It works. Okay. Let's see. Now we got a mount. We know we got FAT32. I'm going to leave that plugged in. So see it right here. Under File Manager right here it is. This is what we're working off of. I'm going to leave that in, but I'm going to go ahead and plug in the blue one, which is a Xfce4. About a second. Bring up the File Manager again. And I believe that's it right there. So it mounted the Xfce4 without a problem. Let's see if this will show anything about it. Not really. All right, let's eject that. Now the true test, NTFS. Close this out. Yep, actually it already mounted it. Nope, it's for thinking about it. But it did mount it. Very nice. I didn't have to do any configuration whatsoever. I haven't done any. I just plugged in the NTFS formatted USB drive and it picked it up and mounted it, made it available. Without any extra work. Did I eject that? Nope, I'm going to though. Gone. Go back to my notes here. And right here, we got FAT32, period Ext4, and NTFS all mounted. Nice. Now FreeBSD, I'm promising you, you'll have to do some configuration and some trial and error to get this NTFS to mount. And on my real FreeBSD install, I do have it, and I can actually mount some NTFS, not all for some reason. Okay, so the next test is Audacity. Close out of the terminal over here. Let's bring up Kdenlive first. I think I can probably open them both up. Maybe. Minimize that for the time being. GhostBSD comes with their own curated wallpapers as well, which is very nice. FreeBSD has them, but you have to download them. Okay, again, we're getting the alpha test. Let's see if we can import audio. There's a wave, but I do think, oh, I have video on here. I do. Let's see. 6.2 megs. Let's open that one up. I'm not sure if there's any audio on it. There is. So this is it. And there it works. The Audacity works. Let's make sure that Kdenlive will do the same thing. Let's see, where was that at? Videos. This one, I think it was the smallest one. Let's open that up. We got audio waveform. Now see, we did not before. This is an improvement. I don't know if Kdenlive made the improvement or the workaround or whatever, or if it was GhostBSD. No matter what, I am extremely happy. It works. I'm not going to save that. Bring this up. All right. So as a rule, these are even as far as they work. Game controller, once again, I'm not going to plug it in and show you that it don't recognize it. Does not recognize the controller. But I did look and see, and it is available that you can configure one to start working. And I actually have a couple of them, and I could have plugged in several to see if it recognized any of them. But I was using the Cytec before, and that's what I'm going to use now. GhostBSD uses the fish shell, and we can type in help right here. And this is going to open up a web browser and gives you pretty good idea of how to use the fish shell. Now, I don't know a lot about fish shell. I'll just be the first one to admit that. But I will say that they make it easy for me to learn a little bit about it. And so far, it seems to work very well. It does auto completion very well. No, I got to do sudo. See, it even tells you, or not tells you, but so you can see you're getting the light colors there to tell you you're on the right path. So this uses the fish shell, and I should have just copied that URL. Let me do that again, and we will copy the URL into here. So we'll have it. I'll have it. And you'll have it because I'll make sure it gets put in the notes. So fish shell. And there's the HTML. Let's close that. Close that. All right. Last step. Let's run Lyins. So Lyins is available. Let me bring up actually, I'll probably see what this update is. Okay, so it's just an update to the update station. So I can just wait on that. It shouldn't hurt here. Oops. Again. Go to their software station. Give it my trusty password. Let it sync with the repositories. Pacman-SYY. And here you'll probably see it's a little slow. It really is. And if you do a search, it has the same glitch in it where if you type in more than 2 letters, it'll stop recognizing those. All right, so let's go Linus. See what I'm saying? Linus is in there, but you only see, there we go. Let's install that, say apply. That's what it's going to do. Confirm. 255 megs to download. That shouldn't take but a second, you would think. Although the internet cable people here are actually rebuilding their service, and for the last week, services dropped out, came back on randomly. So there was a possibility that I would have not been able to do that. So let's go sudo Linus audit system password. And you can run it with sudo, and do as is not installed by default. But I was going to say you could use sudo or just sign in as the root user. That was quick. Wow. That's what I thought was going to happen right there. I want you to look at there, folks. We got in a 60 range. A low 60, albeit, but it is in the 60 range. A full 7 points higher than what FreeBSD did. Let me minimize this for a second, close that out. And that's with all the same software, maybe not the same version numbers. I think it is for the most part, but that's with all this installed and any leaks that these may have. And I did not do anything with the firewall, just raw system, just like in FreeBSD. Difference being, all of this was done for me. I didn't have to do hardly anything. Now, I did have to install Virtualbox, and I had to install all my programs, but I'm telling you, everything. Now, printing might be different, but it comes set up for printing. This is FreeBSD, that's installed, this is not installed, and this is not installed, but it is definitely working. Let's go preferences here, extensions, and we have the VNC extension pack. So, this is pretty nice. This is really nice. I'm going to tell you, I like FreeBSD. I've been running FreeBSD now for a little over a year, and I really enjoy it. And I know it's a hassle sometimes to get some stuff going in FreeBSD, but I've really enjoyed the journey. I'm still using free. I have a whole machine dedicated to FreeBSD 13. What I've done all my previous videos on, I've done it on that computer. On FreeBSD, I've done it on, or any BSD, I've done it on that computer. So I like it. But I'm gonna tell you, since this latest upgrade of GhostBSD, they have really put in the work, and I am impressed. I am going to make this statement. I'm going to use GhostBSD. I'm going to put it on this machine. I'm going to leave it on this hard drive, and we're going to use GhostBSD and just see how well it does work. And if it, like I said, a lot of the stuff is done for you, and you don't have to, every single thing, you don't have to go in and configure it. It's already done for you. They've put in a lot of work here. And I heard somebody compare this to BSD as in Linux Mint is to Linux. Well, I tell you, they've come really, really close to that. Congratulations, GhostBSD developers. Great job. I'll come back with more when I do the printing thing. I'll figure out how to make the printing work. I'm gonna come back and show you how I did that. And if I discover anything else that I may not have had to work or could have got to work very easily, the biggest thing is if you install GhostBSD on this version right here, say you downloaded it last week like I did, then you're gonna have this version. If you do, when your first update comes in, right here, it's going to fail. And it'll take forever, like it's going to work. And then all of a sudden at the end, it'll fail. And no matter how many reboots or retries you do, it's going to fail. Do a little investigation. For me, on this version here, that was to delete the system config printer and reinstall the system config printer. I don't know why or what, but it worked. That's so great. Just back on the software that I've installed here, so you can see it's primarily pretty much the same stuff. One of the differences is Xfce is not available. Okay, so it's not available. Nice. Let me close out all of these because I think that's going to do it. Actually, go back to my file manager. Go back to here first. Open up FreeBSD versus GhostBSD. Nope. There. This is what I want. So all the way around. Now I'm gonna have to do this at closing. I'll go ahead and do it right now. It's got OBS running, but let's see what it comes up to right here. 1.76 megabytes. 1.76. Let me copy that. And it's got OBS running right now. OBS Studio. Let's save that. All right. All in all, if I had to say, GhostBSD just beat FreeBSD out in just about some of the categories they were even, but some of them GhostBSD just flat took it, like the mounting of disk or thumb drives. GhostBSD just won that battle. Nice. And if you look at the fresh boot, 610 megs versus 299 megs. I mean, it's a half. That's pretty nice right there. And the security, that's nice too. All right. So that's going to take this video. That's compared to GhostBSD to 22.6.7 to FreeBSD 13.1. I'm going to use GhostBSD. I'm going to be a proud user of GhostBSD. I don't care what anybody says. I said that because I have watched some videos literally where people just were dogging GhostBSD. It didn't do this, it didn't do that. And they were using FreeBSD and bragging about how well FreeBSD is. And I'm an advocate of FreeBSD. I'm not saying that I don't like FreeBSD. I'm just saying GhostBSD is truly worthy of me putting it on this machine, leaving it on this machine, and using it. See what happens. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out, guys. Bye.